Thanks for the introduction, Zena. And hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I'm really excited to be talking to you today about the approach we take to content marketing at PayPal. And I'm hoping I don't need to explain who PayPal is or what we do. We have over 1 million consumers and hundreds of thousands of merchants, so I'm guessing that some of you are here in the audience today. Today, there are 4 things I want to cover off with you in the next 15 to 20 minutes. The first thing is I want to talk about, a definition of what content marketing means to us at PayPal. I'm going to talk a bit in detail around a core piece of our content marketing strategy, which is our PayPal Empress Index. And what I want to talk about on this piece, and I will go into detail in a moment, but really is how this is a marketing program that we have expanded to be a whole of business program. The third thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to touch on how we use content marketing to connect the two sides of our network. We have business customers and we have consumers, and how we use content marketing to connect them, and again, how we use that to stretch into or outside of the marketing walls. And finally, I'm going to close with some considerations for, learnings that we've had along the way when you're developing a content marketing strategy that you want to scale into across the whole of the organisation. So if we start with what does content marketing mean to us at PayPal? You've heard lots of presentations and discussions today, and I think it's clear it's a really broad term. It means different things to different people and in different organisations. From my perspective, at one end of content marketing, you have that pure brand play. It's not a hard sell. It's about creating affinity and interest and really driving long-term brand value. At the other end, what we have is gated content. And we see this a lot in a B2B world, marketing world, where effectively a brand charges a user via personal information to access content. And that's very much around short-term impact. We often see it in, you've got your lead nurture campaigns and your acquisition campaigns. My perspective is that there's a sweet spot in the middle there. I think you can create content that is authentic, that's useful, and that truly adds value to your viewer or your reader, and that is what motivates them and proactively encourages them to want to engage with you and to engage with your brand. At PayPal a few years ago, we made the decision that content marketing was going to underpin our B2B marketing strategy. And at the heart of that was the launch of the PayPal Empress Index. As I said, I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But in essence, it's a research-based program that we run twice a year. And with that program, we made the very deliberate decision that we weren't going to gate that content, which in a B2B world can be a little bit unusual. But we did that for 2 reasons. We truly believed that we could create greater reach and coverage by not gating the content, and that ultimately that would drive a far greater commercial impact. And we've seen incredible dividends from the approach that we've taken. Ultimately, at PayPal, our content marketing strategy is about connecting those two sides of our network. And you'll hear me use that term a few times in the next 15 minutes, our two-sided network, our business customers and our consumers. And that's how we take our approach on our content strategy. So the Empress Index, it's a key pillar of our program. And essentially, as I said, what it is a research program that we run twice a year. What we are looking at in this program is the gap between how consumers are engaging with brands and how they want to shop or how they want to pay, and how ready businesses are to facilitate that consumer need. What we have seen over the last 3 years is some movement in those stats. Ones you can see on the screen here, 72% of consumers, this is from our last report in September last year, 72% of consumers are buying and engaging on mobile in Australia. But only 55% of our businesses are actually mobile optimised and ready to accept mobile payments. There's a big gap there, and that gap is lost opportunity for businesses. It's effectively lost sales. When people go onto a site and it's not mobile optimised and it takes too long to fill in their form, they are losing sales that way. So what the report does is we do research, and then we get from that research data and insights that we share with our businesses and with prospects as well. And it helps them understand what is mobile commerce, and depending where they are in their mobile commerce journey, what it is, what the impact of it is for their business, and what the opportunity is. As part of the program, we also provide practical advice on actually what do you do about it? How can you take advantage of that opportunity? It's been an integral part of our marketing strategy, as I said, for the last few years. But it's also a prime example of where you can take a marketing program and stretch it across a business and take it into other teams as well. A key part of the approach has been that we engage the business from the outset. We get together with people every year when we're developing, kicking off the next round of the report of the research. We get people from across the business, our stakeholders, and we get them into a room, we talk to them. We engage with people who are talking with customers on a frontline basis, but also some of the back office teams as well. They have huge depth and breadth of knowledge and experience, and being able to talk to people and hear, they're talking to customers every day. They know what the merchants are talking about or businesses are talking about, their fears, their concerns, what they're interested in. And by engaging them early, what we've been able to do is, one, tap into some really interesting trends that we feed into the research project process. We also make sure that then the content that we deliver with the program is useful for both the sales teams and then onwards, obviously, ultimately to the end user, the businesses. But perhaps more importantly than these two pieces is it drives enormous buy-in across the business and huge advocacy. And I truly think that's one of the reasons why this program has been such a success. So to date, we have had 5 reports, 5 M-Commerce Index reports, and as I'm sure you all know, carving out budget and resources for a thought leadership program is very, very difficult. And doing that year on year is even harder. So it's been so satisfying that PayPal has really stuck the course on this one. And we're in the process of developing our sixth index at the moment. And if I think about the reasons of why we've been able to do that, I think it comes down to the value that we have created from the program and how we've been able to demonstrate that into the business and the impact that we've had. The index has media longevity. Every edition we run, we get greater impact on it. It's one of our highest performing messages in our acquisition and our engagement campaigns. And it's used across the business, not just for marketing and comms, but also through our sales and our government relations teams. It's used to foster discussions, it's used to build relationships, and it's used to help drive the sales cycles. So, here you can see what we call our M-Commerce Index house internally. So it has 5 pillars. And I think, again, the core of this program is that ability for it to translate across multiple parts of the business. We talk about it internally, both here in Australia when we talk to our peers around the world, that it's a whole of business program. It's not marketing, it's not a comms or PR program, it's this whole of business. The 5 pillars, if we look to my right, your left, PR and comms, this is where we drive coverage, we drive awareness of it, it builds authority and credibility of the program. We use it through marketing, obviously, we do campaigns, we buy, media, digital media, those sorts of things. It underpins all of our content that we produce throughout the year and that we generate for our business customers in particular. But the 2 areas I really wanted to focus on today, because I think this is where we're showing, able to demonstrate how you take it outside of just that marketing world, is those last 2 pillars, which is sales and government relations. From a sales perspective, and I'll focus on the sales rather than the employees piece. So from a sales perspective, again, because we've engaged them early on in the process, they know what's coming and they've been able to feed into it. So I have seen and heard multiple examples of how sales teams are using this, and I've seen it grow year on year. And at the moment, there's almost not an email exchange that I come across between a customer or a prospect and one of our sales team that doesn't somewhere in that chain reference the PayPal M-Commerce Index stats. So they're using it in pitch packs, they're using it in email, they're using it in conversations. And what's been interesting is that while we produce a sales toolkit, and enablement, those sorts of things, they actually take the report itself and the content from it and they tailor it to the customers that they're talking to and in that customer journey at that point in time. You know, they do like cut and paste of a screen page or pull out just a specific little snippet on a page, or they share the PDF. And so it's showing the depth of the content and how they're able to take that content and shape it for their needs and help move whatever conversation it is that they're having at that point in time. We also, the fifth pillar is the government relations pillar. And this was new for us last year. So in 2018, in the September 2018 report, what we did was a bit old school. We have a PDF, we actually print a copy of the report, a hard copy, and we did a direct mail piece to federal MPs. And we did that with a letter from our head of our government or director of our government relations team. And the idea was simple. It was about creating, an opportunity for her to build authority and credibility with federal MPs. And she got some really great responses and was able to start to have some conversations with people. And I think it's one of the things that this program creates, is that ability for frontline staff to be able to have more strategic conversations. So rather than just, hi, I'm from PayPal, buy me, put me on your website, buy our product, you actually get to have a conversation and show the value you can bring to a business beyond just the product or the service that we sell. And the government relations one this year, that pillar, is something we'll be looking at. How do we expand on that? Different levels of government, how do we take it into industry? Again, how do we make this work harder and harder? I think we've all heard the term, sweat your assets really hard. This program does it in spades. We use the content and other teams use it and reuse it endlessly. So to give you a little example of the different ways we use it, at the core, as I said, is this report. There's a hard copy, it's digital, and it's got that, the weight of the research. We're talking from a point of authority. We use it to drive PR and media coverage. So we get TV, we get print, radio, and digital, predominantly across Australia, but we've also seen that we can drive coverage into APAC as well. We use it through all of our marketing campaigns. So we usually have a launch campaign at the time we release the actual report, but we also use that messaging through all of our acquisition and engagement campaigns. We use it in third-party partnerships. Last year was really exciting. We did a great collaboration with Business Chicks. We did an online masterclass, and it was a really practical, almost like a university lecture style approach to how do you get ready to be mobile optimized, and what does that mean for me as a business? And then, as I mentioned, we do a sales toolkit. And in that, we have things like email content, that you can use and craft to share a message. We do social media posts, infographics, etc. For content marketing, for it to be truly effective, what we have seen is that you need to carry it across the business. You need to have consistent messaging, and you need to be creating a recognisable brand for that content. And what we've seen with this platform we've created in PayPal is, this single platform has enabled us to drive so much consumer and merchant engagement, and across so many channels, through stakeholders, through media, through sales, and of course we use it in marketing. But to put some numbers on that, what does it mean? We've driven huge value from it. From a relatively small investment, in the 3 years we've had it running, 4 years, coming up to 4 years now, so from 2017, we've had over 1,000 pieces of positive media coverage. A combined reach of 27.5 million in Australia, which comes out to roughly a $15 million media value, which I know can be a flawed methodology, and there's a lot of debate around that area, but it still gives you an indication of the coverage we've been able to, the impact we've been able to see, because we certainly do not have budgets like $15 million to spend. So it's been great impact there. Also importantly, when we look at our brand tracker, what we can see is that when we look at brand consideration among our SMB customers, or prospects, sorry, we have 54% brand consideration, which means that we've retained our #1 spot year on year against our competitors. So pleasing to see that we're able to keep ourselves at that level. I think a testament to the success of the program as well is that this year, and it's really super exciting, is that we're looking to roll it out as a global program. But it's not all about m-commerce and B2B. We also use content marketing to connect, to connect the two sides of our network. As I said, we have consumers and businesses. We refer to them internally as merchants, they're businesses. And like m-commerce, it's how do we find ways to create content that we can stretch and reuse across multiple areas. So in this example I'm going to talk through is a consumer campaign we ran last year called Pay the Easy Way, which was all about encouraging Australians to use PayPal more often in more ways. Part of the campaign was a content series called 5 Minutes Flat with Matt. And in that we worked with our ambassador, comedian, Matt O'Kine, who we've worked with a number of times over the last 18 months. And in this series, what we did was Matt challenged people on the street to spend $500 in 5 minutes paying with PayPal. And the intention was really to show or to prove that PayPal truly is the easiest way to pay whatever it is you're buying. Why would you use any other option? It's really pleasing for the team in particular, but I'm super proud of the team because this campaign won, I think it was last week or maybe the week before, the Mumbrella CommsCon Award for Best Socially Led, Digitally Led Campaign. On the surface of this, it might seem like a pure consumer play and a consumer campaign, and how does this stretch across the business? A bit like m-commerce, it provides a platform for sales teams. It gives sales teams something to talk about. And in this particular example, I'm going to show you a little trailer in just a moment. What it does is gave our sales team, our frontline staff, so our account managers and our sales teams, a way to show prospective customers or existing customers, to show them how we can truly drive value for our customers, for our business customers. It enabled them to talk about and show them what does the best-in-class integration look like for a consumer and give them really tangible examples. And also importantly, and not to be undervalued in the sales world, is that ability to give them something to talk about that's beyond, hi, I want to sell my latest product or upsell you to something. It allows them to build those deeper relationships and build some common ground. There were 5 episodes that we released. We amplified via social media. One of them was a trailer, which I'll show you in just a minute. But before we hit play on that, I just wanted to say that one of the reasons I love this little series is that it was a really, I think, a humorous and authentic way for PayPal to show how we connect those two sides of the network, our business customers and our consumers. If we can take a look at the trailer now, please.
What would you do with $500? I'm hitting people up, giving them $500 and showing them just how easy it is to pay with PayPal. So my name's Matt O'Kine, and this is 5 Minutes Flat with Matt. With $500 in your account, so you got 5 minutes. Please tell me you're ready.
I think I'm ready.
This can turn your day upside down.
You never ask a girl to shop within 5 minutes.
3, 2, 1. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Better get the pace up.
Yes!
That is how you play this game.
See you guys soon.
Thank you.
So, in closing, I wanted to cover off, as I said, 3 considerations, and they really are learnings that we have had over our journey over the last 3 years. And share those with you when you're looking at building a content, or if you've already built one, wherever you are in your journey. Things we've found really useful for building a strategy that has scaled across multiple areas of the business. The first one is tapping into your internal stakeholders. I can't stress enough the importance of utilising those assets, if you like, within your organisation. Those teams have enormous knowledge and experience, and when you engage them early on and get them helping you shaping and the direction of your strategy, you create that enormous buy-in and advocacy. I truly think it's one of the reasons the program is such, the Empress Index in particular, that program is such a success. The second consideration is around finding your sweet spot. And by this I mean understanding your customer and the world that they're in and going, where is there an interest or a need that my customers have that overlaps with my brand and where I have authority and credibility to comment on that moment or that interest. Once you've found that, keep focused on it and keep building on it year in year. And that's where you drive momentum and really drive the sort of massive, I guess, exponential gains that we have seen in our approach. Finally, be authentic, which I know is a very overused term in content marketing, but it really is, or marketing generally, I suppose, but it really is important. And this is about understanding the role that you play in your customer's world. It's about being true to your brand values. And it's about, when you're building these strategies and these programs, making sure you keep your customer at the heart of what you're doing. That is all. Thank you for your time today.
Any quick questions for Vanessa from the crowd? I'll run the mic over in my heels.
Hey Vanessa, just interested on the Empress Index into your 6th iteration now. Do you change the questions developed as you've gone through it? And if so, what's the process for deciding how you come up with new questions?
Great question. The research we do is twofold. We have an annual index where we have tracking questions that stay the same year on year so that we can truly track the variances that are happening. We also, and another reason for the success of the program, is we bring in a trends angle every time as well. We typically look at 2 trends. Those trends that we find are not mapped year on year, and that's what we use the business to find what those trends are. So we've looked at things like security. We've looked at things like how augmented reality and voice assistance, what that is doing for businesses. We've looked at Amazon and the impact of that and marketplaces. So it changes every report that we do. The other piece is, as I said, we do it twice yearly. The first half of the year, the one that we do, which is in May, is just a trends report. We don't do the tracking the year on year. September is our big tracking study combined with the 2 trends pieces that we bring in.
Anyone else for one final question? No? Okay, let's show Vanessa a round of applause. Thank you very much.